Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. So I know this is a few days late, but this is my sort of match reaction to the rather disappointing result that ended Chelsea 1, Fulham 2. Obviously we have a game tonight against Ipswich, so as my reaction is quite late, I will also be talking about that, and I'll also be giving a few thoughts on the Everton game. So we had Sanchez and goal, Cucurella on the left, Colwell and Tosin as our centre-backs, Gusto on the right, Caicedo and Enzo on midfield with Palmer just in front, Sancho on the left, Neto on the right, and Jackson up top. And obviously, the match before this, we had a 0 draw with Everton away at Goodison Park, which, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, Everton away at Goodison Park is never an easy result. It's never an easy game to have, so I wasn't really surprised. I was slightly disappointed Jackson didn't take at least one of the chances he had, but after that game, I thought, you know what, a point away at Goodison Park with our really bad record there is better than nothing. But going into this game, we had to win it. I mean, we had to win it. Fulham are a good team. They're very well drilled. Marco Silva is doing a brilliant job with them. But we had to beat Fulham. It's a derby. It's Fulham. It's Fulham. I mean, this is I grew up watching. I grew up. The Fulham I grew up watching would never really be a threat to Chelsea. So I knew this was going to be a difficult game, but I expected more from the team. Anyway, we go into the first half, and in all honesty, before the Palmer goal, Fulham were the better team. They looked better on the ball. They looked more confident. They found out how to break through our line a few times. We were struggling getting the ball behind them. It wasn't until Palmer scored his goal that we kind of took over. Obviously, for the first like 10, 15 minutes, Fulham were the better team. They looked like they were more likely to score. Then out of nowhere, Palmer does it's a little moment of magic. Palmer gets the ball, he dances past two players, then slots it between the legs of a third, which meant Leno had no chance to save it. And then the whole game flipped. The whole game flipped. One thing that Fulham have been doing very well with the first 10 minutes or so is they've been getting Anthony Robinson on the ball a lot. And the way that Fulham were playing was Robinson essentially didn't have to really worry about his defensive duties. He could just be a really difficult player for Gusto to deal with. So he'd be consistently going in the attacking positions, using that pace and using that power to hurt the Chelsea right side. What happened is when we scored the goal, everything changed. Fulham seemed to lose all their confidence. The players were all of a sudden all over the place. Our players were then relaxed because we were 1-0 up, and we just completely took over. Fulham all of a sudden couldn't get the ball to Robinson. He was just a non-factor anymore, and we just dominated the ball. We consistently kept them in their own box. Whenever they cleared it, it would just come back to a Chelsea player, and we'll restart the attack. And then we'll do this a lot throughout the next half an hour. And the reality is, we should have been 2 or 3-0 up. We should have scored. If we'd scored at least one of the chances that we had over the next half an hour, we'd probably win that game. There was an amazing opportunity. Enzo with the free kick, lofts it in, perfect ball, and Cucurella completely unmarked, about 6 yards out from goal, and he just heads it at the keeper. And this was the frustrating thing. A couple of weeks ago, Cucurella scored a significantly harder header against Brentford. This was so much easier, this chance, and he heads it. If he had got his shot and his header either side of the goalkeeper, it's a goal. We're 2-0 up, and the game's probably done. But it's straight at Leno, and it's really just frustrating. And then obviously, I think the last 5 minutes of the first half, Fulham come back into it, and they look really threatening again. But again, we get to half time, and it is still 1-0. And you're just there at that point, I was thinking, surely Chelsea win this. Surely we just kill the game off, and we kind of move on with our next one. And we go into the second half, and we mostly continue where we left off. We're dominating the ball, we're creating opportunities, and then slowly throughout that second half period, Chelsea players became more and more lethargic. The intensity dropped. All of a sudden, Fulham, even in the stadium, the Fulham fans were getting louder and louder and louder, and Fulham themselves were getting better and better and better. They were becoming more daring. They were just getting more confidence. The longer it's just stayed 1-0, the more likely it kind of felt that Fulham were going to nick a result. And we had a few really good opportunities. I think Enzo Fernandez had an amazing shot, and it was just Enzo Fernandez had an incredible shot when it was 1-0 into the top right-hand corner, and Leno was just produced an incredible save. This is the one thing about the match as well, is some of the saves that Bernd Leno was producing were just spectacular. I think a few of them were in the top corner. They were in crucial moments, and they were all when it was 1-0 Chelsea. So for me, he kept them in that game. And the more we missed and the more he saved, the more it just felt like, oh God, this could be a really frustrating game. And then Marco Silva saw the opportunity, and he sent on a whole bunch of new players, fresh players, just to kind of really threaten the Chelsea defence more and more and more. And this is kind of where I was frustrated with Maresca. I think he's done an amazing job so far this season. But this game and the Everton game, the substitutions just have not been good enough. I think Jackson was poor in this game, was poor in the other game. Palmer was also poor in the other game. But in this game particularly, and Nkunku comes on, doesn't really do anything. I would much rather have someone like João Felix come on, maybe Madueke come on, because Sancho was really non-existent. And yeah, Fulham then just begun to I think Harry Wilson was thrown on. Muniz was thrown on. All of a sudden, they were just beginning to build that momentum up. And then you get to like the 82nd minute, and I think Iwobi is just coming down the wing. Poor defensive block by I think I don't know what Neto is trying to do, but it's poor from him. Ball gets floated into the box. It's not dealt with, and then Harry Wilson is just right there, like 6 yards out. Easiest goal he's going to score all season. And it's one of those where as soon as that happens, the next 10 minutes of the match, or 15 minutes of the match, were just crazy. It was just end to end. This was all of a sudden, there was no control of the match. All of a sudden, it was just we attack, then we defend, we attack, we defend. It was all over the place, which is exactly how Fulham wanted it to be, because that's how they knew that they could get us. It's crazy, because Fulham, which I grew up knowing, if they nicked an 82nd minute equaliser at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea, they would just defend for their lives. They would just then sit back. They would think, okay, we've done a brilliant job. We've gotten a result at Chelsea. This is amazing. We're not going to beat them. We'll take the draw. I was really impressed with Fulham. They knew that they had that belief that they could beat us. They looked at the Chelsea side, despite how well we've been playing this season, and they just saw the defensive frailties, and they thought, yeah, we can beat this team. And Marco Silva, fair play to him. He's created an incredible mentality at this Fulham side, because they just kept going. They kept going. And we then had a couple of opportunities again. Leno somehow produced more incredible saves, and then their winning goal was a disgrace though. The ball was right on the edge of the pitch. Sanchez boots the ball up. Really poor kick. It goes right into the middle of the pitch, and it goes straight to a Fulham player. And then all of a sudden, the Chelsea defence is all over the shop. We just had complete control of the ball. They now have the ball. We're all over the place. They have, I think, like 3 versus 2 in the attack, in just outside our box. I think it was Lukic or something like that who got the assist. Passes it to Muniz, and it's a great finish. And it's such a frustrating moment, because this is the first time since 1979, or I think since the 70s, that we lost to Fulham at Stamford Bridge. It wasn't good enough. It was absolutely atrocious. Conceding the 96th minute, actually being 1-0 up at the 82nd minute and not winning the match, it's just not just not winning the match, not getting a single thing out of the match isn't good enough from the players. It was awful. But I mean, yeah, Muniz is a great goal. Extremely frustrating. To make it even more annoying, even after they scored that goal, because obviously there was more time added on. We had an amazing opportunity again. I think it was from a corner. The ball bounces, is going into the top right-hand corner, and Leno again dives and makes a spectacular save. I mean, he was the man of the match, 100%. He's the reason that they won. He didn't score the goals, but he's the reason they stayed in that game. And it's so it's two bad results, and all of a sudden we go from being comfortably second to now we're really in a top four race. We're obviously fourth today. We have a game in hand, but I mean we're now really in the thick of a top four race, which is not something I wanted to be in. I wanted to kind of be clear in second, try and challenge for the title. But yeah, I mean, it's just one like you can't be at home 1-0 up in the 82nd minute and then lose the game. You can't do that. We did, unfortunately. The one good thing about this period in England is there's a game every few days. So this was a few days. This was like what, 4 or 5 days ago. This is 4 days ago. There's already another game today against Ipswich away, which on paper we should win this game. But again, who knows? There's a slight concern that this could be a start of a really horrible period. I mean, we have today. We have Ipswich. Saturday we have Palace. 2 games on paper. We should be winning them, and then all of a sudden we'll probably comfortably in the Champions League spots. But yeah, so tonight we have Ipswich away. I'm just hoping we get a comfortable win. Just kill the game off. One thing that kind of annoyed me in the other game as well was it felt like the players were quite arrogant. Like, we created loads of opportunities. There was just this belief that we'd just score another goal. And this is the thing, we never killed the game off in the end. Never killed the game off. And we got punished by a very good attacking team. Unfortunately, it's just the way it happens in football. But yeah, so hopefully we'll win tonight, and then we'll hopefully win again on Saturday and start to really build the momentum up again. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you all tonight for another video when we have hopefully beaten Ipswich.